Our next presentation is from Dedolight, California, Marianne Exbrayat and Sean Boyriven. I hope I pronounced that correctly, close enough?
I'll let you get away with this time.
Okay, yeah, I'm not so good with the French names. But they're going to tell us about how to light without lights.
Exactly, basically.
It appears that way today, doesn't it?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm with Dedolight, California. We are located in Burbank. We are super lucky to be local because we get to be able to have you visit us anytime. We have a lighting stage nearby. It's actually almost walking distance to here. And you're welcome to come by anytime to either look at the equipment we have or bring your own equipment and do some testing side by side. I want to first wish everybody a great 2024. And let's pretend like 2023 did not exist for a few minutes. In 2022, Dedolight introduced its new line of LED lights called the Neo Dedolight. With the first one out of the gate was the RGB ACL focusing light. So it's a big difference over what else you can see out there in multicolor. It's the only multicolor light that has focusing ability. What it means is not a fixed control angle of exit, which gives you basically control. And that's what the Dedolight is about. It's not about washing the entire set, but controlling and being very precise as to where you put your lights and where you put your shadows. In the meantime, be aware that your bicolor lights are not dead. If you look at the output of a bicolor versus a monocolor and then versus a multicolor, there's a huge difference. And it's sheer real estate and mathematics. In a multicolor light, we have 6 different colors of LEDs on a square. And in a bicolor, we have the same size square with only 2 colors of LEDs. So we have a lot more punch. And then if you go down to a monocolor LED, you have twice the output of a bicolor. So for all practical application, you're gonna still be using your bicolor a lot on set. And your multicolor will give you, so the bicolor will give you a lot of punch, and the multicolor can give you creative options, but they are not exclusive one to another. They are very complementary. Dedolight California started to build kits more specific towards the Hollywood industry. Most of you have used the Dedolight Master Kits. They've been designed for rental house, for people who are doing a lot of location work or a lot of solo shooting. It's small, compact, and it has all the grip items you need to set up your lights. In the meantime, for people working in Hollywood with camera trucks and on stage, some of the grip equipment in the master kits were redundant with what you have on your truck or on stage already. So we built a new type of kit called the gaffer's kit. And the gaffer's kit basically means that we took out all the grip items and replaced these items with optical accessories that allow you to have better, finer, and more precise control of the beam. So I think that's why we call them the gaffers, because they are not grip-oriented at all. So of course now with the new family of light, you can have gaffers kit that are only monocolor, bicolor, and monocolor mix. You can have bicolor and multicolor, and the kits that have those variations of light models are now called hybrid kits. So you can now buy these hybrid kits in all kinds of different configuration. And if there's a configuration we haven't thought of, we'll be happy to build it for you. One of the things we are showing today is a new flag system specifically for reflective light. If you use a highly precise Dedolight, you don't have to worry so much about stray light when you work with reflectors, because you can get a very tight beam. And if you are even luckier as a Dedolight owner, you can put a parallel beam intensifier on your light source, and now you get even tighter, and you can hit the center of the reflector. And if you don't shoot with Dedolight, you may get quite a bit of spin light around your reflector. So for this situation, Dedolight is proposing now a round flag system, and you're probably all aware of the round collapsible reflector systems used in still photography in particular. The specificity of this one is that there is a hole in the center, so you can grip through the center of the reflector and hold the grip to mount the reflector without and block the spill light wherever you want. On the round reflectors, we have actually several surfaces you can pick from. The black, as it is set up now. We have also another shade, which is white, and then 3 colors, gold, silver, and bronze. So you can actually change the characteristic of the spill light that you are repurposing. So instead of just killing the spill light with a black flag, you're actually bringing back and repurposes this stray light and actually using it for something to enhance your photography. One of the big issues with using reflectors is the way you grip them, because they require really precise positioning, and it's highly frustrating when you spend time setting up the reflector exactly where you want, and just as you're locking the position, then it takes a little jerk off the side, and it's no longer where you had wanted to put it. So for this reason, we've spent over a year curating what we consider the best grip system for reflectors. And Sean is gonna show you in a quick second why it has to be easy, it has to be precise, and it has to be very solidly kept in position.
My turn.
Yep, your turn,
All right.
Sean.
How are you all? Do any of you use reflectors? Anyone? Are you finding that you're using them on all sets pretty much? It's been a grassroots kind of movement, and they've just kind of gained popularity. And with that, a lot of support devices have been created in order to try to get the most control out of them. As Marianne was saying, if you're using a Dedolight with a beam intensifier, then you may not need this type of a device. But this is something that apparently people have been asking for who have been using reflectors. So it seems pretty easy to create like a collapsible disc type setup. These are in 22-inch, 32-inch, 42-inch, 52-inch, 62-inch, because we have various size reflectors. And if you want to use a small one and kill a small spot, you can do that, and all the way up to making arrays, which is what I'm doing here. So I'm not sure how many of you have gotten deeply into reflecting light, but from our perspective, I always try to show people how to make an array so that they can utilize a very tight, bright beam to split into different directions and create different light sources on any given setup, whether it's small or large. This would be like a medium-sized setup. And what's difficult about introducing another item to a reflector system, even if you're using a single reflector, is that if you've used them, you need to have very, very precise control over the reflector to redirect where you want light to go. But not only that, they don't necessarily fall in a circular pattern. They actually fall in an oval pattern or in a linear pattern. So you need to be able to spin it, move it, tweak it, and move the reflector in 3D space in order to get a lot of control out of it. So working with a good dear friend of ours, Chuck Smallwood, who does G4 scripts, and he's been designing stuff for 9-dot solutions. We've been going back and forth this stuff, and we decided to curate, as Marianne was saying, grip gear that would be the ultimate type of setup that you could get away with to have precise control over a single, double, triple, quad style array to do a lot of reflecting with. So what we ended up, it looks more complex than it actually is. What you realize is that the systems that we're working with here are 5/8 rod and gag systems. And what that allows me to do is to move the array away from these new flags, okay? And manipulate each of the reflectors in 3D space. And that starts with basically being able to take them off of a rod like this. And as you can see, I actually have all of this space by which I can start moving this single reflector in an array, and I can start pointing it anywhere I want to. And not only that, I can bridge the gap to the next reflector over so that I can keep capturing as much light and photons as possible so that I can get that light to carry to another space, okay? So if I keep twisting, warping, manipulating, I can get this reflector of this particular array to a particular position, and then I can actually manipulate at the reflector itself, at the head of the reflector here where it attaches to the reflector mount. I have full spinning control over it, and if, for a little bit more detail, to be able to spin it is important not only for shape but for polarization, because once the light is reflected off of a hard surface, you get more polarized qualities, and as it hits the surface of a subject, you can actually change the shininess and elements as it bounces off of the subject. So now I have not only that lateral movement in the XYZ space, I also can spin and move the reflector exactly where I want to send that particular section of the light and lock it off, and then go to my next reflector and do the same thing. Maximize as much of the light as I can, split as much of it as I can, utilize as much of it as I can, like a light redistribution center, if you will. So that's a good foundation to kind of grow from. There is a 5-in-1 for this, so just like if you're used to photography, you can turn this into a 5-in-1. Making a hole in the center of them is not too complex of a thing. So that basically is just another piece of grip gear that's here, where we have these spreaders, these spreading rods, come out of this little 5/8, it's a unique 5/8 grip piece that allows you to do this. And then you have a 5-in-1 reflector, gold, silver, white, or black, so you can get an all 5-in-1. I just launched these on our website this morning, so you can actually start ordering the discs. And that's what I like about them, Marianne.
Yep.
That's what I got to say.
Yep, these are pretty
Thank
cool.
you.
Yeah. So one thing we wanted to stress today with all of you here is at Dedolight, California, we are very keen at integrating local knowledge into what we offer on our website. And as I was mentioning, we spent over a year finding what we consider is the best grip items, not because of the money that they cost, but because they are easy, precise, and they lock firmly in place. And in the end, we ended up pretty much curating all the grip items from what Charles Smallwood, which everybody here calls Chuck. He's been working in this industry for 30 years. And in basically 2 days, I was so pleased to see all the things he invented to make his job much easier and much more professional. So as a local company, we are super happy to draw from local experience and to work with you to help you if you decide to launch a product. We are always very keen on looking at things and at integrating your product into our website and into what we offer. So I know it may not be the tradition because these people usually are hiding behind the curtain, but I'd like Chuck to come here because I would like people to see your face for people who don't know you, and give Chuck a big round of applause.
Hey, Chuck.
So this is Chuck. If you don't know him, there is, and again, is such a wealth of knowledge on the work of grip, and makes actually using reflector a lot easy for people who begin in the industry. Thank you, Chuck.
And Jazz Fusion, too.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Jazz Fusion.
One last thing I wanted to talk with you about is safety on set. And it's very important because I feel like some outlets may not have been conveying the smartest message to people who use reflectors. Reflectors can be as heavy as a small light hanging on a truss. And when you have a 50 by 50 reflector weighing 2 or 3 pounds from 20 feet high, the last thing you want is it to fall on somebody below. So some people have been offering very poorly made safety strap, which I call unsafe strap, basically. And where it is dangerous for you is from a liability point of view. The straps we sell on our website, and they are $15 a piece, so it's not going to ruin your budget. They all have this certification tag here. So this strap can be used in any studio in the world, and it covers you from a liability point of view. Because the problem with reflector is that as manufacturers, we put a label on the back that say you must use it with a strap. So as the grip or gaffer, you go there, you say, oh great, I'm gonna put a strap. And if something go wrong and use a strap that is not certified, then the insurance company is gonna say, okay, so you were aware you had to use a strap. And you use the strap, but you use the cheap ones to save $15, and you hurt someone, which means your insurance is declined. So please, this is one of the tricks in the business, and I know a lot of people just want to save a few bucks and cut corner, but this is making your insurance company work. So safety first on set, and we hope to see you on set soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Marianne. Thank you, Sean.
Anyone have any questions about reflecting light? Anything? Go ahead. What are some of the benefits of using reflectors? Well, you can create multiple light sources from a single source. If you have a very powerful single source, then you can use house power in order to make multiple light sources. You can cut down on heat, which cuts down on your expenses. If you have your own studio, that speaks for itself. If you have a line producer who wants to save some money and not rent a bunch of crap, then you can actually talk them into doing reflected light. Reflected light has a very distinct quality. It's a drop-off that's not something that you would get from a focusing light or from a panel. It's one of the oldest methods of lighting, but it's now one of the most controlled methods of lighting, depending on if you understand the parent source. If you have a laser, that's great. Then you can really pack a punch with a reflector. You can reinvent how the light works and how it's traveling, and you can defy the square law by using tighter and brighter lights. But if you have a light that's got a 15-degree par can on it, you have to bring reflectors up very close, and I would shy away from doing that too much because it doesn't necessarily have that many benefits. So yeah, there are financial benefits, there are creative benefits. Yeah, I hope that covers a couple of things. It's a pretty amazing system if you aren't afraid to learn something new, you know.
It's on? Okay, all right. Yeah, there's so many advantages. It's kind of hard to blab them all right here. But one of the things you can do with the reflectors also is that with one light source, you basically know that all the different beams that hit the subject are going to be at the exact same color temperature. So if you have a variation in the color temperature, it's because you decide to introduce it and not because of an issue with one light being a tiny bit different in color temperature than the other or set a little bit differently. You decide to change your color temperature, you go to your master light source, you change there, all your reflectors are going to follow immediately. You're not running around adjusting several ballast. Another thing is that you can stick a reflector in many places where you don't want to put a light. In a bathroom, in a staircase, you don't have the power cable going to it. So now, and also, in some scenes, you want to remove as many stands from the set as possible, so you give more freedom to camera position and also to the movement on the actors on stage. If you work with kids, we're going to be running around. The less stands you have in the way, the better you are. If you're working with people who are not professional actors, grandmother in the kitchen, well, instead of, blasting her with lights everywhere and having 20 people setting up lights and scaring her before she even starts speaking, you can bring reflectors and being very understated about the type of equipment you bring in and get the shots with the minimum amount of disturbance to the person's environment. So there are just so many reasons. For a studio in Los Angeles in the middle of summer, we have people here who work in animation studio with stages that are about the size of my pickup truck. And when it's 110 degrees Fahrenheit outside, if you run a bunch of light for each beam you need, your AC bill is going to be very high, or everybody's going to be wearing a swimsuit on the stage. So those are some of the many perks you get with reflectors.
Well, thanks again, guys. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you.